Hi everyone, I'm Elsie Ireland, author. Oh, upside down. Hi everyone, I'm Elsie Ireland. I'm an author, I'm an artist, and all-around drama queen. For this video, I am facing one of my art insecurities, and it's one that I think a lot of artists share. Hands. I do everything with my hands, and I think they're so expressive. As a drama teacher, they were an important part of my craft, so why can't I get them to show up on paper the way that they do in real life? And I don't even need them to be realistic, I just need them to be, understandably hands? The best way that I'm going to face this insecurity is not to draw it once, or twice, or even 5 times, even 10 times. I'm going to draw
24 hands.
I'm going to sit myself in this chair, I'm going to put on an audiobook, and I'm going to draw 24 hands, and hopefully, by the end of this, I will have a better understanding of their structure and how they work, and they will come more easily to me at least, when I draw them. I went online and found 24 stock images of hands. Whatever hand I draw from the pile, I then have to draw in my sketchbook. I cannot get out of this chair until I've finished all 24 of them. So if that means I'm going to be here all night, well, I'm going to be here all night.
I'm going to be here all night.
24 hands. Can I do it? Will it make a difference? I hope so. Let's do this. So at the beginning, I got the reference and I really tried to eyeball it and draw it the way that I've been drawing hands lately, pulling up a picture and eyeballing it and just really trying to match it. But it wasn't working, it wasn't coming out the way that I wanted, and I did a lot of erasing and redrawing and erasing and redrawing. I just couldn't get it to turn out. And I was starting to get really frustrating, so you can see my frustration. So I tried a new tactic with the second hand. I ended up drawing a grid, and then drawing the same grid over the reference image, and then trying to match it. But while this did work better, it wasn't accurate enough. I should have got a ruler and actually made the right calculations so that my reference image and my grid on my paper were actually the same. However, this hand did turn out a lot better, but I still didn't feel like I had a really fundamental understanding of how the hand actually worked. So for this next one, I tried breaking it down into individual pieces of the little building blocks that made up the hand. Ran out of room on that page, so flipped to the next one and started drawing the individual pieces, the little rectangles and squares and triangles that I was seeing in the reference image. And this is where I really had my breakthrough. And I realized I should probably draw it a second time after drawing it, so I would trace it on the reference image, draw it, and then redraw it just to get more familiar with those shapes. And I tried again on the next hand of finding that those individual shapes and trying to figure out how they fit together. And this is when I really hit my stride. But I quickly learned that if I kept drawing this big and this spaced out in my sketchbook, these 24 hands were going to take my entire sketchbook. So I got a piece of cardstock and started cutting them into smaller squares and just working on a smaller canvas for all of them. And that worked better too, to help me kind of separate each hand from each other. And here I am again. The ones that were palm up, I tended to have the hardest time with. So you can see these ones aren't quite as accurate. I'm still figuring it out. And this one, especially the ones with the hands facing forward, like with the fingers kind of foreshortened, I really struggled with that one. I think I did okay on this one, but I really do think I need to work more on foreshortening, especially when it comes to hands. Foreshortening in general is pretty intense. I gotta add that to my list. And here's just a basic hand, which was a fun break from all of the different poses that had been more complicated that I had tried earlier. And this is where I really started to see, okay, I'm figuring this out. And here's another hand that has the fingers foreshortened and bent away that I really needed to work on. I couldn't figure out how to get that look like they're bent away without actually bending the finger itself. So another one I need to add to my list, those fingers facing to and from. This one I really enjoyed because this one was so similar to that second hand that I did, but I was really able to use those basic shapes to create it, and it was really gratifying to make. You might say it was a handsome hand. Haha, get it? Handsome. I know, my humor can be a handful sometimes. Ah, I'm hilarious. Okay, I'll stop. Please don't unsubscribe. And here's the basic hand with the palm facing forward. Fingers were a little too long on this one, but I was getting it. I was figuring it out. Adding those lines to the palms really helped too, to add that kind of three-dimensional depth. And when I searched for these reference images, I wanted a huge variety of hands, so I looked for hands holding things, throwing things, dropping things, reaching, grabbing, pushing. Okay, so I've been at this for about an hour and a half so far, and I thought I was just really trucking along and making some great progress, and I checked my little pile of ones that I've finished, and I'm at 11, which means I'm not even halfway done. But I do feel like I'm making progress, and I still have another 13 of these to go, so I'm so tired. But I can do this. I got this. For the learning, I can do this. Alright, we've got another 13 to go. It is 1 o'clock at night, but I am not stopping because I said I was going to do this all at once. I am going to do it in a gamut, and I am just going to go. So here we go. Number 12. Here I come. This next two were hands that were on the same page, and they were actually from the same stock image. And I really connected with this one because I could truly imagine the character reaching towards something, and they were nice and dramatic, and you know how I love my drama. So this one I just really enjoyed drawing, and I think you can really see that that comes across in the art because it has more fluidity and more life than any of the previous ones have. The rest of them very static. This one I could really envision that character, and that really helped, and I can see a difference from here on out where the hands that I'm drawing are taking on more motion and movement to them, and that's very exciting. From this point on, I had really hit that groove, and I was just pumping them out. And then my camera died. And now I'm back, and you missed a couple of them, unfortunately, before I realized that my camera had turned off. But you can see, look how much more motion and movement, and there was some point along the line where it just kind of clicked. Once again, those fingers curved away are still my enemy, but I'm getting better, especially where the thumb connects to the wrist. I've had like an aha moment that I had been drawing the thumb too low on the hand and connecting the wrist wrong. So fortunately, I was studying using actual photos of actual hands, and I think that's important when you are learning to draw, to use references that are photos or real life rather than referencing another artist's rendition of a hand, because it's like, that would be like translating a translation. Something is going to get lost in the process, and for me, I had lost a lot of the basic anatomy of where the wrist and the thumbs connect, but once I figured that out, my hand started looking a lot more recognizable and realistic in a lot fewer strokes of my pencil. I'm getting a lot faster, and I know it's kind of misleading because this is all going pretty fast, but this is 8 times faster consistently throughout the entire video. Think back to that first hand where I agonized over and over and over again, and this hand here where I'm just sort of flying through it. I'm going a lot faster, and part of it was like I was getting tired, and I knew I had so many of these hands to draw that I couldn't let myself agonize over every single one. That was also an interesting aha moment for me, that not all of these hands were perfect, but they got better consistently as I just made myself keep working on them. So when it comes to practicing, I could have spent all of this time on a single hand and got nowhere, or I could have done 50 hands and actually improved. There have been studies that have shown that if you give students the assignment of one perfect assignment or several imperfect assignments, those imperfect assignments are going to be higher quality than the one perfect assignment because there's room for creativity and growth, and you're not crippled by that idea of having to be perfect. So at this point, I had finished all of them, but since I'm a glutton for punishment, I decided I wanted to actually finish one of them and color it and line it. So I picked one of my favorites and took it back to my desk, and I use a Faber-Castell India ink pen for line art. I used to use Micron fine liners, but I found that they didn't play as well with the alcohol markers that I like to color with. So After I had lined it, I grabbed my kneaded eraser and erased, and then pulled out my markers. I will eventually, hopefully, upgrade to Copics, but for now, I use a mix of Artist's Loft, the Michaels brand, and a brand called Ohuhu, which are kind of like the poor man's Copics. They have some beautiful colors and just recently came out with brush markers that I really enjoy, but they don't have very many light colors, so most of the ones you're going to see me using in this video are actually the Michaels brand. I had to supplement my set with lighter skin tones and pastels because the set that I had bought of Ohuhu's just didn't have them. So here I am adding shading and finally finishing up my last piece, my piece de resistance of my whole project.
It is 4 hours after I first began this challenge, but I did it. I drew not just 24 hands, since I drew many of them multiple times. I ended up drawing in total 50 hands tonight in one sitting. I just slammed them all out. I really do think I have learned something. Am I perfect at drawing hands? No. As long as I just embrace that journey and just learning for the sake of the fun of learning and being able to see my improvement, and as long as I can kind of embrace that mindset, I really do believe that I can be a better artist. Whatever it is that you're pursuing, perfection is impossible, and that's okay. That's actually exciting. That means you're never done. It's like watching a beloved movie and then it ends, or playing a video game and you get everything and there's literally nothing you haven't done in this game yet. Life isn't like that. There's endless possibilities, and art just kind of encapsulates that for me. And I hope that with this video, I can inspire other people to face their own insecurities. So I would love to know in the comments, what is your insecurity for art? And it could be one thing, it could be a laundry list of things. Like I wrote some down. I think I've got 17 things on my list, and I'm going to tackle all of them. You know, YouTube is another thing. I don't know anything about what I'm doing, but I am going to keep trying, just like with my writing, just like with my art, just like with my life. I just have to go out and build up the courage to try and to not be afraid of failing. And I really hope that I can do this to inspire other people. So if this is the kind of thing that you find inspiring or that you think will motivate you, please subscribe, hit that notification bells if you'd like to watch me learn and grow more, and hopefully learn and grow right along with me. I'm Elsie, and I'll see you in the next video.